Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Episode number 18 now of the No Punches Pulled podcast. Hoping to see a great crowd of you here tonight for the Usyk versus Fury 2 preview show. Biggest show of the year ahead. Liam J's Fight Talk on his way in very, very soon. Yes, Liam, unbelievable week ahead, mate. I just need to, it's funny, we've just gone live. I need to pop down for 2 seconds, mate. I'll let you carry on the intro.
Yeah, look, as Sam's just said, it's an absolutely huge week. We've had the grand arrivals this evening. We had media day yesterday, which started to whet the appetite. It's Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury, the rematch from their humdinger in May. Can Fury get this fight back and make it 1-1 in the series? Will Usyk cement his claim as the greatest Ukrainian boxer we've ever seen? Insert your comments in the captions for us. We've got an undercard with Ish Davis answering the Turkey back call for the second time in the space of 3 months, stepping in against Boachuk. Johnny Fisher bringing the Romford Ball army over to Saudi against Dave Allen. And Moses Atauma continues his meteoric rise. Remember, he's only 19 years old in his 11th fight.
Yeah, incredible. I'm looking forward to that. I just watched a bit of the grand arrivals, actually, before we came on as well. Took part in the Boxing Media Hub live prediction show for Usyk Fury 2. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do it. It was a good show. Plenty of panelists on there. But look, we'll start with, before Jay comes, obviously, we won't go into Usyk Fury 2. But I guess there's a few talking points, Liam. And, before we go into Dennis McCann and McGrail and all the rest of it, we'll save that probably for a little bit later. Good news, I guess, for Reece Edwards. He's getting to step in, and even better news, really, for Peter McGrail, that he gets to stay on the card because he put in a full training camp. He didn't, fail any VADA tests or anything like that. He was ready to go. So I'm glad that he is, Jay. Anyway, good stuff. Hello, Jay.
Hiya, boys. You all right?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, we've only just started, to be honest with you. So yeah, look, we'll probably do the bulk of the show on Usyk Fury 2. I think that's where it's at. Hello, DJ Pat. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hello, Luca, as well. Yeah, good Luca. Stuff, boys. Good evening. Look, the bulk of the show is going to be on the main event, isn't it? Let's be completely honest. There's some good talking points, some bad talking points from the last week or so. Oh, here we go. He's massaging your ego now, Jay. The King of Kings. He'll be running all the way to the bank with that one, Pat. Look at the smile. Look at that smile.
I need that, mate. We would have never did. Thank you.
He needed that one. Good man. You can always rely on DJ Pat. Top man is Pat. And Luca, of course. Right.
Nah, fuck Luca.
I'm joking, man. Good evening, Hawkan. Hope you're well as well. Yes, my friend, another top man, just did the show with himself as well. And boys, let's just start with Usyk and Fury because, I don't want to build into it. This is where it's at. I mean, come on, we're finally here. We're Tuesday. A fight week now. The grand arrivals have happened. I want everyone in the chat involved as well. We're going to do our prediction show tomorrow, so we'll hold fire on who we think is going to win. Obviously, I've given my pick on Boxing Media Hub, but look, we don't often see. I say we don't often see because Better Be and Bill have run it back within 4 months. But this, say what you want about Turkey and Saudi and why they're in boxing, what reasons they're in it for, but to see what was such an amazing fight happen in May, to get it right back on. And I say it probably would have been quicker if Usyk was quite hurt. And I think Fury was quite hurt after the first fight as well. I want both your thoughts on, the demeanor, because so much is made. Like AJ and Fury, they're under such a microscope. Like anything they do, Fury's locked himself away this time. He hasn't spoke to his wife for 3 months. He's lying about it. He says some stuff, doesn't he? That's just not true. But, how do you assess both of their body language? Who do you think's doing things differently going into this fight?
This is exactly how Tyson Fury started fight week in May. Forget the fact that his dad decided to headbutt the quietest member of Team Usyk on the Monday last time round. Tyson started the week really quiet, didn't he? Which I personally thought was a good sign. Obviously, personal circumstances came in during fight week and he became more erratic and more in Usyk's face as fight week come on. Obviously, more's come out about what was going on behind the scenes for Tyson that fight week. Look, it's good that he's locked himself away this time. I don't for a second believe he's gone 3 months without speaking to his wife. If he has, then fair play to him. But if he stays at this level all week, if we're sitting
tell us
here
your secret, Tyson, please.
If we're sitting here on Friday night,
years, mate.
I
get away with about 24 hours sometimes. That's what I've done.
If we're sitting here on Friday night and Tyson has stayed at this level all week and we haven't had any of his big erratic crashes up and down, then I'll say it's a good sign, if that makes sense. It shows that he's really focused on this task. He really is going into Wilder 2 mode. I don't know if he will. Something tells me by the press conference on Thursday afternoon, evening our time, he's going to try and get inside Usyk's head again. He can't help he just nailed it. He can't help himself. And he's got his dad there as well.
No,
if anything, all it takes is John piping up a little bit and now get Tyson's back up and then he'll be going. No. Usyk is Usyk. He's calm, he's laid back, he's calculated. If anything, he looks... Fury's saying he's promising a big knockout for Turkey, isn't he? I want to give Turkey a big knockout.
Well, Turkey's firmly in Team Fury, isn't he? Did you not see that FaceTime that they did?
Yeah, but what everybody's sort of glossing over is the fact that he's lost his last fight. So you're a middleweight, you can't beat me.
He can't.
None of that works. None of that. You can't give that any credence anymore because he lost. And he was seconds away from being stopped. If that round 9 hadn't have ended, if the referee hadn't have basically pulled Usyk off him, that fight could have been a 9th round stoppage or whatever round, 9th round. Yeah. So that demeanour that he's previously had within himself is no longer believable. And I believe that he bought into it previously. He was unbeaten. He'd beaten the killer. A lot of people dismiss Deontay Wilder's skills now, but not then.
Wilder was...
In fact, I've got a picture of someone that was taking the piss out of me for betting on that fight for anything other than Wilder, because of the way he went in and the weight and stuff like that, So, and Tyson said it himself. I've seen very little interviews, but I saw a little snippet of one. It was either today or yesterday where he said he was asked about certain fighters and they asked him who the best fighter was. And he said, Usyk, he's beat the man who beat the man, which, Fury was the man who beat the man. So I think he's had to come in a little bit different this time. If he'd have come in swaggering around, calling him a middleweight, saying you're going to get this, you're going to get that, it doesn't wash because, he beat you last time. So none of that stands the test of time. So what he's had to do is knuckle down, focus. He's got the excuse of, I got cut in camp last time, so I couldn't spar. And, he's got excuses as to why the last fight didn't go the way it did. So I think this time it's being forced on him.
Yeah, I think before I ask you this question, I think this is a great comment from Hawkeye. He's changed his mind for the fight, and a few times will probably do it again. It is that kind of fight, definitely. You can you can watch something that happens in fight. We can completely change your mind. I agree with that. And Lucas said John's been put back in his box. It didn't work. So yeah, Turkey definitely has told him to stop. Jay, the question I was going to ask you. Do you think all the bravado that Fury was doing in the first fight, like messing about on the ropes and all that, do you think that was kind of like nervous energy? Like you said, he said about calling him a middleweight.
I think what happened last time, I think he had a burnout. I think he used too much nervous energy and his dad getting involved and, all the nonsense of the headbutts and his dad made it into this. I know they were fighting each other and they were rivals, but his dad made it more than what it needed to be. He made it, there was vitriol and spite involved there, and there was no need for that. Usyk is one of the most respectful champions I've ever seen. He never disrespects anybody. I've never seen him have any spats with anyone, really. He's never disrespectful. He's just cold, calculated, comes in, does his job, goes home. And you barely see him, do you? You don't see him falling out of nightclubs and staggering home drunk. He just goes home, does his shit and picks up his paycheck. I think that a lot of that last time didn't help Tyson. I think he burnt, like you said, excessive energy, excessive nervous energy. They're the type of emotions that you need within a fight like that. The heightened senses, adrenaline. When you're nervous, a lot of fighters get nervous, not scared. They get nervous, don't they? And a lot of them say that helps them, with the twitch muscles and fast fibers, etc. And I think he didn't have a lot of that. What we've seen in the last fight, which we've never seen from him before, ploddy footwork. His footwork was shocking. Everyone said, his legs have gone. I don't believe that. I just don't think he had anything in his tank. I think he burnt a lot of it in the build-up.
Yeah,
it was harder than he expected.
100%. Liam, there were two moments in the fight for me that were really key in the fight. And first one, I don't think gets mentioned enough is Usyk hurt Fury, not necessarily, he didn't stagger him or anything, but in round number 9, everyone talks about that because of what happened. But round number 8, Usyk caught Fury with a really good left hand, and he was pouring at his nose a lot. I don't know if it ever came out if he broke his nose or something. He definitely did something to Fury's nose where he kept, you watch it back, he kept pouring at the nose and everything like that. And then the other one was in that 9th round, the lazy combination that Fury threw, like the tap, 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 and then Usyk just, there's a lazy 3 or 4 punch combination that he just flicked out. I don't know if he's tired or.
Did you see that technique then, Liam? Why don't you fight, Sam? Did you see that?
I know, mate. I know, Tyson. It's not too late.
Join the camp, brother. Join the camp.
But yeah, no, it was a lazy 3 or 4 punch combination with there's no power behind it or anything like that. And Usyk just swung that left over the top because he saw the gap there. Fury has to be perfect. He has to, because any gap that can be exploited, Liam, for me, Usyk. There you go. Lucas said Fury said about nerve damage in his nose, Liam. So he has to be perfect, doesn't he?
Yeah, but look, it's not the first time he's had to go into a fight and be perfect. The old adage with Wilder, he only needs to be perfect for 5 seconds. His all opponents need to be perfect for 36 minutes. Arguably, the only fight Tyson Fury managed to be perfect for as long as it lasted was fight number 2. Fight number 1, he was down on the floor in the 9th and the 12th. Fight number 3, he was nearly stopped in the 4th and 5th rounds, and he was down again in the 7th, I think it was. So, yeah, I agree with you, mate. Usyk did grow into that fight the first time round. You looked at the start, and I think even Usyk was taken aback by the actual size difference between him and Fury for the first couple of rounds. It took him a couple of rounds to work Tyson Fury out. And yes, he was being a lot more eccentric than we maybe expected Tyson Fury to be. But if you watch those first 2 or 3 rounds back, yes, Usyk is still landing shots, but he's also having to figure out how to deal with someone that is the size of Tyson Fury. Because, okay, he's fought up at heavyweight now since 2019, but no one is like Tyson Fury in terms of the heavyweights he's faced. Round number 9 misconstrues a lot of people's opinions of the fight. If you look online the last couple of weeks, people have said, oh, it's such an easy fight to score for Oleksandr Usyk. It's a 9-3 fight. Well, it's not, is it? It's a very, very close fight that because of that 1 round, some people become misconstrued about what happens. I said this on my show last night, and it's a very true point. This is one of the very rare occasions in boxing where there's going to be a second fight before the first fight even takes place, and you want to see the second fight.
Yeah.
How often do we know there's a rematch clause? We know we're going to see it again. Dubois Joshua is a prime example. Okay, that rematch thankfully isn't happening now, but none of us wanted to see the rematch after what we saw happen in September at Wembley. There was no need for it. This fight, even if Tyson Fury got the nod with the 3 judges in May, we would have wanted to see a rematch. It's a very, very rare occasion, and it's fantastic that we're getting it. It's a shame that the IBF have stripped their belt away and taken their 3% somewhere else. But let's be honest, everyone who knows their 2 cents worth of boxing knows this is the real undisputed fight. I think Dev Sahini tripped up yesterday calling it still an undisputed fight. Okay, he'll make a lot more mistakes this week, old Dev. But it's true. This is the undisputed fight. Daniel Dubois is a world champion, but his time will come once Fury, Usyk, etc. leave the division. For the time being, these are the 2 kingmakers. And as I said before you came on, Jay, Usyk wins on Saturday night. For me, he cements his legacy as the greatest fighter to ever come out of Ukraine. He surpasses anything the Klitschko brothers done with another.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If he gets a double over Fury, if he stops Fury as well, I think he's making a case for probably the best fighter of this era.
His body of work at cruiserweight as well. I'm not just basing that on what he's done since he's moved up to heavy. His run of Gassiev, Huck, Bradis. I will include Tony Bellew.
He's a road warrior too. He's done it all on the road.
Did he fight Huck?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, I don't know actually. No,
I got up yesterday when I was doing my research for mine. He fought Huck in there as well.
Yeah, he did.
But listen, Boachuk's not finished yet, so don't be dismissing other Ukrainian fighters, boys.
Look,
Boachuk's an exciting fighter as well. I'm sure we're going to get.
Yeah, I do like Boachuk.
In terms of Tyson Fury, though, there was a lot of nervous energy. I mean, we've seen him do his showmanship on the ropes, but we've seen that in, say, round 7 or 8 of a fight once he's already started wearing down his opponent. He was doing that within 90 seconds of the first round. It's, that's not the time to be doing it. You're right. There was a lot of nervous energy. He was dismissive of Usyk and his power. And even before the 9th round, obviously it's easy to say, yeah, round number 9, Tyson realised what Usyk was about. He'd realised that from round 4 onwards, when Usyk arguably racked up 3 of those 5 rounds on the scorecards because of his come forward pressure, because of his jab. He's, a lot of people have said he's a diminutive puncher. You don't realise just how good he is and the angles he creates until he's in the ring with him. And Tyson Fury found that out in May. What adjustments he's made. He said he's got a game plan this time. We'll find out Saturday night, won't we, if he actually does have the game plan. Every boxer seems to have their kryptonite, don't they? Is Oleksandr Usyk that for Tyson Fury? Is he just that man that Fury's never going to be able to get one over?
It's a very, very valid point. Lucas bang on the money. Usyk went to Latvia to fight Bradis in the World Boxing Super Series and won a slither, razor-thin decision. It was a fantastic fight, and it was by far Usyk's hardest night of his career, even harder than Fury. And that is true. David Roper, thanks for tuning in, my friend. Says Liam, spot on. Make the IBF, get rid of the IBF and get the Ring magazine.
Just been in both. The Ring magazine holds zero credence for me. It's like winning a fucking Beano belt. It's a magazine.
Hang on a minute, mate. Benson's running that now. Evening, Mr. Neutral. Another one on the show was just on. Good evening, my friend. Hope you're well. Yeah, Benson's the Ring magazine now, mate.
I give a fuck who's in Ring magazine. I still won't buy it or read it. Pile of shit. But I think even Chisora showed half a blueprint on how to beat Usyk. You just can't give him any space or any time to.
You sit here and you don't stop working.
And as much as he wants to say that it was a test for himself and he wanted to, I don't believe that. Maybe he wanted rounds, but he didn't want to get bashed up like he did for 3 or 4 rounds of that fight. He got beaten up. But I think Tyson Fury has to do what Tyson Fury does best. Don't give anybody any room. Fast combinations. Weird angles, but he needs to sit right in front of him and follow him, not stand off him like he did last time and lazily pour out his jab, overhand right, trying to hook. And
does Usyk stop him if he fights aggressive, Jay?
If he fights aggressive, he'll potentially get stopped early.
I think Usyk. I think if Fury comes, there's all this talk like we mentioned already. Wilder 2. If he comes out Usyk will stop him.
No. It's got to be calculated pressure. It needs to be. I know I've just said he needs to sit on his chest, but not just bombarding forward, looking for headshots, but he just needs to follow him and not give him a chance to get space. Maybe not like try to smother him and suffocate him, because look, he's got all the advantages. He's got length, he's got height, he's got weight. He didn't use any of them in that last fight. He didn't use any of those attributes. Well, for the first 3 or 4 rounds, he was jabbing him well, catching him with that uppercut. And there was a couple of times, definitely one time, that he caught Usyk with an uppercut and it stunned him. And Usyk sort of backed off.
Yeah.
He denies that it hurt him, but you could see that.
He was stung. He was stung.
And definitely. I think that is what Fury needs to do. He needs to get within range, close enough to hit him, be ready to back off out, but then go straight back in. But obviously be aware of what's coming back, because he now knows that he can be hurt. Wasn't necessarily that hard a punch either. As Sam said, I think Usyk wasn't really loading up. He just saw a gap and threw and just caught him. And Fury was all off balance, a bit of exhaustion, hurt his nose, couldn't breathe. And it just all came crashing down at once, didn't it, for him? Because I think one of the best and worst things to ever happen to Fury is to get knocked down that heavy from Wilder to get back up like the Undertaker made him think that I can definitely not get hurt by anyone, especially.
He talked himself into it, didn't he? He's a middleweight, he's this, that, and the other. And then, yes, Luca, I agree with that, mate. Michael Benson is the biggest winner of Riyadh season. Him and Ishmael Davis, he's done well out of it, as we'll get on to Jay's mate in a minute. Ryan Hong's
Jay's Fight Talk still up for sale, so there's time yet.
Yeah, everything's up for sale.
My 1,000 flipping followers.
It's an interesting point from Ryan here, guys, about Usyk getting robbed on the cards.
I believe that. I also believe that. I think they want the third fight, so it's going to be difficult for Tyson to lose that fight unless he gets stopped. I think if it's anywhere near as close as it was last time, we see Fury get the decision.
Yeah,
and there's the Anthony Joshua fight, isn't there, as well? That they're desperate for.
And, I mean, Turkey could not have been any more fucking one-sided when he did that FaceTime the other day.
Oh yeah, Turkey's firmly in the Fury camp.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was. I didn't like that. I thought it was a little. It hinged on disrespectful for me.
Yeah, but look, he did the same thing with Crawford, didn't he? As well, like he's always going to have his favorites, you know, and that's the way he is. He's not like Eddie or Frank and people like that.
Which you have to respect that, I suppose. Yeah. You know, the fact that he's honest and true to who it is. I just don't like stuff like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He kind of should be impartial, but he's Turkey, does what the hell he wants, doesn't he? That's the other side of it.
I mean, the narrative being created, not just obviously what we've seen today and yesterday, what we've seen all through the build-up is Riyadh season 25 into 26 is going to, you know, be bigger and better. We want Tyson Fury and Usyk trilogy. We want Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. They want all these fights. So you can say what you want about your judges being impartial and they're there to judge what they see for up to 36 minutes. They'll be hearing everything that's going on. And as much as they try and avoid it, that will play on their subconscious. You hear, it's like what you get told all the time. If you hear something enough, even if you know it's complete bullshit, you start to convince yourself it's true because you're hearing it said to you enough times. So that narrative is being rammed down their throats this week. I don't want to say anyone's going to... Yeah.
Fury's the home fighter. I don't care what anyone says. Frank Warren's Turkey's best mate. You know.
Terry O'Connor.
Gold star.
Adelaide Bird and Stevie Wonder. I'm legally blind.
Well, David Roper said Adelaide Bird's being bought in for judging. DJ Patson Fury needs to bully Usyk around, lean and make it hard for Usyk and train him. I predict the late Fury KO. Pat says they almost robbed Usyk in the Joshua rematch. Yeah, they did actually, Ryan, you're right. Lucas saying about stakes. Look, it's... There's so many different avenues. I'm really interested to see as fight week plays out, both of you, if Tyson Fury's mask starts to come down, you know, when the press conference, is he going to stick to this, you know, all business approach that he's been?
I don't think it's a mask, mate. I think he's just been humbled and I think he's thought about it in this camp. We've seen a lot less of him, haven't we, on TV in general. And he's a realist. He's not an idiot. He can't do what he did before. He might do a little bit of the bravado as such, but he can't start all that because it don't wash. And going back to what I said about burning nervous energy, he knows how his legs felt in that fight. I think he's conserving as much of it as he can, both mentally and physically.
Yeah.
You all know what mentally draining is like. I'm so mentally drained at the end of every working day, and I never thought about that before. You know, as I've got older and I work a lot, being mentally tired for me is harder to deal with than physically tired because you can't switch off. Even though you're overtired, you're mentally tired, your body's knackered. So I think Tyson has had some battles within himself that he's had to deal with. We know that he deals with demons anyway, and I think that has popped a bubble for him. It might be the best thing to ever happen to him. I would not be surprised if we see the best Tyson Fury we've ever seen at the weekend. I'm not saying that will be enough to beat Usyk, but I'm saying there's a chance. He's going to go out there and give it his all. He'll either get nailed to the king canvas or we're going to see one of the greatest fights we've ever seen in terms of them two.
And that's exactly why we're tuning in.
Oh, 100%.
Mate, you've just made a really good point there, mate. Tyson Fury's best. Tyson Fury's best may not be enough to beat Oleksandr Usyk.
That's what, yeah.
That is because that's the reality.
Because that wasn't his best, was it, last time? Nowhere near for me.
But equally, that wasn't Usyk's best. If Usyk has said himself that was probably one of his weaker performances he's given in a championship fight, so not including obviously when he fought Chisora, etc. And I would agree with that. He was sloppy. He made mistakes. You know, at the start of round 7, he was blowing sitting on his stool, wasn't he? You got that clip of the corner where they give him the cross for him to kiss and all of that. He was blowing halfway through that fight and had to dig deeper than he's had to dig in fights before as well. It is just such a fascinating matchup. Because I asked the question to Matt yesterday and I said, look, it's the oldest cliche in the world. Is it a new fight or is it round 13? And I actually think this fight breaks the mold for so many different reasons. Because of what we saw in May, this is round 13. We don't see the final bell in this rematch on Saturday, one way or the other. Whether it's Fury or Usyk that wins, we're not seeing the final bell. Those 12 rounds they shared will have formed the basis of how they've prepped for this fight. Tyson Fury will have had to, well, Sugar Hill probably more than Tyson, will have had to have watched that fight back countless times to learn from how Usyk managed to maneuver his way in against such a big man and cause him problems. Usyk will have taken the lessons from the first 3 or 4 rounds or how he struggled to get to grips with Tyson Fury and have to know how to do that so he can start faster. Because if Tyson Fury is on it and he inflicts damage in the first 4 rounds, Usyk won't be able to turn the tide like he was in May. So it is really fascinating.
It is. They both know, don't they?
At the one point I will say off the back of something Liam said, I agree with 100% with what Liam said. And this is going to sound really stupid because Usyk won it and we're saying he could be one of the greatest of this generation, if not the. But I think Usyk's got a more rigid style. I think Tyson Fury could surprise Usyk more than Usyk could surprise Fury, if that makes any sense. When Fury has a little bit of a different style to his game, so he can box a little bit different. Usyk boxes pretty much the same every time. He's really good at what he does, and he consistently wins by doing it. Whereas Tyson Fury has different styles in different fights. Usyk never really does that. He just does what he does and does it better than anybody else. It depends on what Tyson Fury turns up as to how the fight's going to go for me.
Yeah, of course it does. I think that there's no doubt about it that the more consistent fighter out of the two of them is Usyk. Fury has to change something or do something different. And it's quite a vague statement, and I know that's the narrative coming in. Fury lost, he has to change it. But for me, if both fighters fight 70% of their best, 80% of their best, whatever it is, Usyk's going to win the fight. Fury has to have a better night than he did before. Usyk has to have
Tyson Fury has adapted during his career more times than we've seen Usyk adapt. So look at how Tyson Fury beat Klitschko. One of the drabbest fights you've ever watched, but it was the most effective game plan to beat Vladimir Klitschko that night in Hamburg. What was I going to say? Then when Wilder first fight, he came out to box him. And okay, he got robbed by the judges, but he also was caught more than he would have liked by Wilder. Wilder too, he was more dominant on the front foot, and he completely neutralized all of Wilder's strengths and powers and took it away from him. The third fight is an anomaly. I can't say that word. The third fight,
an anomaly.
That's the word. That's what because of everything he'd had going on in the run-up. He'd been sleeping on the hospital floor, etc., etc. So that was a firefight, and that's probably the best of the 3 fights, that third fight. But he's always changed. Usyk won all the belts at cruiserweight with a back foot style by breaking opponents down, and then if the opportunities arose, finishing the fights in the second half, or if not, taking wide points decisions. Look what he done against Anthony Joshua at Tottenham. Very similar to the Tony Bellew performance. He maybe gave away 2 of the first 4 rounds, but he wasn't giving them away because he couldn't win the fight. It's because he was bringing himself into the fight, and then he dominated and won probably 11, 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3 on the scorecards, didn't he? He has a very consistent style. And the fact that he was able to get inside of Tyson Fury, who fights eccentrically, who fights differently every single time, and actually outbox him down the middle stretch of that fight, says everything about him. In my opinion,
he's too mechanically sound. He's like a robot, man. You're not going to make him malfunction. You have to do something out of the ordinary to get through Usyk, and that's what Fury's going to have to do on Saturday night.
If he can stay on his game plan when Tyson Fury's sitting on the ropes, laughing in his face, swinging out to the crowd, etc., but stay on his game and get the job done, then it doesn't matter what Tyson Fury does in this fight. He will stay in the regime that has been. Stay in the regime that has been implemented to him in the last 11 weeks, won't he? He's not going to get fazed by absolutely anything Tyson Fury does.
Yeah, definitely. Just going to run through a few comments here. We're tuning in, listen to you boys, waiting for the February card for pay-per-view. Thank you very much, Pat. We will be live. Big up Jam's Boxing Chat. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Great prediction show over on Boxing Media Hub that we just did. Make sure you go and check that out and subscribe. Lucas said Fury doesn't have the power to stop Usyk. This is a good talking point, Luca, actually. And Usyk's too clever to not get caught. Usyk hits harder than Fury in 2024. It is an interesting point. I don't know if I subscribe to that. I don't know. But I do think there is a hint of Fury being slightly shot at this stage. I think his lifestyle and everything he's done, Usyk's just such a consummate professional. He has that extra 5% over Fury for me, just in regard to, his body just hasn't been through as much. If he does that make sense?
Say that though, but he's got a long long, extensive amateur career, you know, and there has to be a decline at some stage. And, you know, he's older than Fury, isn't he? By what, 4 or 5 years, is he? What's Fury?
No, he's only a year older. I think there's 37.
Usyk was 36, no?
Yeah, Fury's 36, Usyk's 37, I believe.
Oh, I thought Fury was 32, so my mistake.
No, Fury's at least 30. I think Usyk's 37, Fury's 36. Usyk won the first. Thanks, Dave, for tuning in. I don't know who said that. I didn't say that. Usyk can fight in the back foot as well. Jam said Usyk had the first 2, gave Fury the third. 100.
Has he been listening to somebody else? We haven't even spoke about who won any rounds.
I don't remember.
I spoke about how Usyk took a few rounds to adapt to Tyson Fury. I didn't say he hadn't won any of the first 3 rounds. I'm saying he took those rounds to figure him out.
Close up to about 6 or 7, and then
so did I. I've just
look, it was close through, but I said it on the other show. Through 6 rounds, I'm sorry, but if anyone asked anybody who was going to win that fight after the 6th round, everyone would have said Fury. He was on top at that point in the fight. Usyk started better. He banked some of the early rounds for me, but round 5, round 6, where Fury started working that uppercut and the body shots, he was on top at that point in the fight. Usyk made a fantastic adjustment. Like I said, the 8th round was the key for me before what happened in round.
Not to help the scoring, it's literally research purposes.
I don't know. I guess we'll talk about that. But
involved. All they're going to do.
It's not involved in the Usyk Fury fight, is it?
They used it already. They used it when I think it might have been Russia when Roy Jones or somewhere when Roy Jones had a fighter that lost but should have won, and the AI scoring picked it right 8-4. It's research. It's like using VAR but not using VAR. They're just trying it out.
Yeah, Sam. Back to what you just said about halfway through. At the halfway point, I had it 59-55 to Fury. And Dave's saying, again, it's a 12-round fight if don't matter. The point of the matter is, if you were given £10 to place on one man winning that fight halfway through, unless you were
picking Fury.
Yeah, unless you were a Ukrainian, you were picking Fury at that point. It wasn't until round 8 that Usyk then readdressed the tide, was it? Round 8, he came out, the nose that we've spoken about. Then he had the big round 9, and he finished the better fighter. But up in round 6... Fury looked in control. It looked like the bigger man was going to do what we expected the bigger man to do.
That's the narrative for the rematch. If that Fury for Fury, if Fury didn't have those moments, then we wouldn't be here talking about what a great rematch is, because Usyk would have won the fight in a dominant fashion. Whereas people are talking about this fight and they're so excited about it because Fury does have a path to win. Tyson Fury can win this fight on Saturday. It's not a foregone conclusion that this on Saturday. Yes, Usyk is a rightful favourite. I thought Usyk won in May, but Tyson Fury is a factor in this fight. You'd be silly to write him off. You really would.
Tyson Fury winning this fight on Saturday isn't, it's not an upset. If anything, Usyk winning in May was a bigger upset than if Tyson wins this rematch.
Yeah, Fury was a bigger favourite in May than Usyk is this weekend. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. It is 2 of the best boxers of this generation going head-to-head for another fight after already delivering us 12 epic rounds in May. That's what this is. You can argue about scoring, who was ahead after 3 rounds, who was ahead after 6 rounds. Should it have been stopped in the 9th round? Did Mark Nielsen help Tyson Fury out by pulling Usyk off of him? You can argue all of that all you want, but we got a split decision. Usyk won it by 1 point with the 3rd judge. And now we're here in December doing it all over again. That's the facts of the matter. Like you say, Dave, ifs don't matter. The facts are Usyk won it by 1 point with the 3rd judge, and now we're going again.
Yeah. Lol has joined us. Funny how Usyk is in 6 fights today, but he's beating more heavyweight world champions than Fury in 16 years. It is a valid point, to be fair. And, this isn't us saying that Usyk's not going to win the fight. We're just playing devil's advocate for the...
Tyson was the WBC champion, and all the other belts were tied up, so he couldn't fight any world champions, could it?
Well, no, look, let's just address the elephant in the room. Fury was out of the ring. He won the unified heavyweight world championship against Vladimir Klitschko, who was undefeated for 10 years, and then Fury...
2015. In 2015, he's done that.
In 2015, then he didn't box again until 2018 was it, or something? His comeback, or 2017? I don't know the exact year, but it was at least
comparable. The two different.
He was at least 2-3 years out of the ring. But look. To be fair to Usyk, his strength of schedule at heavyweight is his 2 wins over Anthony Joshua. He's beat Tyson Fury. He is the number 1 heavyweight in the world right now.
And he didn't have to climb through the ranks like Tyson Fury did. They're not comparable careers. You can't. you can't hold them side by side and start picking one over the other. They're two different paths to the championships. They're completely different. You know, the fact that Usyk's beaten more world champions or whatever, for me, it's incomparable. They're both great champions.
This is an interesting point as well, because if Fury wins on Saturday and they're 1-1,
they were shit, lol.
And if they're 1-1 on Saturday, the trilogy is going to be who goes down as the best heavyweight of this era, and it is a monumental fight. So if Tyson Fury can get it done, and if there's a stoppage win for Fury on Saturday, or even if Usyk stops Fury, the chapter's closed. Fury can probably only hope for a Joshua fight really after that if Usyk stops him on Saturday. But the repercussions are absolutely massive.
Yeah. Exactly.
But they're on about him going back down, aren't they, to fight Optaya?
What's the point of going down to cruiserweight to fight Optaya? I'm sorry, but just go retire. Go retire, man.
There's no one to challenge him, really. And I don't
go retire. You're too good. You're too good.
Wants to do something that's never been done. No one's ever gone back down, have they? But yeah,
I must admit, Usyk Optaya is a great fight, though. It is, to be fair. Optaya is a young up-and-comer. Well, Optaya is an up-and-comer, though. So you'd back Usyk, of course you would. But
I said last night that Usyk coming out with that comment is him taking advantage of a weakest piss cruiserweight division at the moment, which compared to the era he came through is what that current crop of cruiserweights are. It's nowhere near as strong as it was back in 2015 to 2018.
No way. Yeah, the outcome of this refight next summer UK will see Fury and AJ.
I do not want to see. Honest to God, I do not.
Ship sail, man. The ship sail. Obviously, I'll watch it. Of course,
we
I will.
Will watch it.
I'm not.
Nothing. It gives me nothing. If I, that fight is dead. Joshua's washed. And
we're going to see Fury versus AJ in a non-title fight, considering both men have been world heavyweight champions for most of their careers. We're going to see it when it's a non-title fight, which is that's enough said, really. Might be better for Jai to move up, Jams. Yeah, potentially, but he's got to address the undisputed cruiserweight, hasn't he?
Only if he puts horseshoes in his gloves. That's the only way he's beating bloody.
Yeah, look, Jai's going to fight Zerdo and Badu Jack to become undisputed at cruiserweight, and Usyk will be gone by the time Jai's had them two fights. Yeah. So there's no, I don't think it happens. Jai's the next best star in the heavyweight. When will he level up? Look, I think. I'm not saying he's not, but I think Optaya, you put Optaya in against, Martin Bacoli and Dubois and people like that who can really, I haven't seen enough of Optaya to fully say, because he's been spoke about like he's going to do what Usyk did, move up to cruiserweight and dominate heavyweight. I haven't seen enough of Optaya to be like, yeah, he's going to do that. Usyk always had that special aura about him whenever. And Adolf Stalin's joined us. Half-retired Bradis almost finished him on the Usyk Fury 1 card. Bradis came on really strong in that rematch, and Bradis had him going a little bit in the first fight as well. Look, for me, I'm not saying the jury's out. And Optaya is a quality fighter, he really is. But just to say he's going to dominate the heavyweights, I haven't seen that yet. If I'm being completely honest, but that's just. It's just my opinion. Jai's going to go to Bridgerweight, Dave says, and become a 2-weight world champion. Yeah. The worst division in boxing. Yes, Optaya's opponent has been replaced on January the 8th. I saw that earlier, Jams. Yeah, so look forward to that one. I guess we'll go into the undercard then. Boys, we could debate Fury and Usyk all night, and we're probably going to do it all week anyway. So I guess we may as well shine some light on the undercard. So let's just go to the listed co-main event, which is our man Serhij Boachuk versus Jay's man Ishmael Davis. I love
one second. I just need to check if it's still on. Let's double check.
All right, true. No, Boachuk's out. Ishmael Davis is fighting for the English title in the co-main event. No, look, Madrimov against Boachuk was going to be an all-out war. It was going to be a brilliant fight. We got robbed of it, unfortunately, but Madrimov Ortiz is going to, suffice for us in February. That's going to be great. Boachuk, really unlucky against Virgil Ortiz for me last time out. It was a great fight. He dropped Ortiz twice. He is a serious threat at 154 is Serhij Boachuk. Ishmael Davis, you got to give him credit. Like we said, he's changing his life with Riyadh season. You love to see it, Jay. I know Ishmael Davis, so great to see him change his life essentially. But look, in my opinion, it's going to be a tough night for Ishmael Davis against Boachuk. He can really
I mean, no disrespect to Ishmael, but I just think it's too much too soon for him. I mean, yes, he did well in the Josh Kelly fight towards the end.
Yes, Jim.
Took it on short notice. Again, he's took this fight on short notice. I know he was in the camp, but it's different. Opponent, opponent of a much higher pedigree and better pedigree. It's in Saudi. It's on the biggest card of the year, one of the biggest cards in the last decade.
His co-main event, Usyk Fury too.
Yeah, it's fucking massive for him.
It's mad.
And, I'd love to say that he's going to win it, but I wouldn't be saying it with any confidence. I want him to win it, but it's a tough ask for him. But, he won't shy away from it. He's going to go in there and he's going to throw down and, what will be, but ultimately he's not doing it for chump changes. He's going to get some life-changing money and also big fights off the back of this, because Turkey now knows who he is. He's a guy that stepped in and, not saved the card as such, but certainly doing his bit for the card. So there's other fights to come off the back of this. I'm not saying he needs to look past it and accept defeat, because he's going to go in there and try to win. It's a tough ask. It's an uphill task for him. But it's not just about Saturday night for Ishmael Davis.
No, look, he's won before getting in. He's won before getting in. I'm just going to address this comment, Liam, from David Roper, just before I get your thoughts on. I think Josh, obviously, first of all, Kelly's at 160, isn't he now technically, and this is at 154. But also, if Josh Kelly's phone rang, in my opinion, he wouldn't have took the bow, even if he was at 154. I don't think that would have been too dangerous for where their heads at for it. So, and also I heard that Turkey said, because Ishmael saved the Wembley card at the 11th hour to fight Kelly when Smith was out, that he wanted the first offering to go to Ishmael Davis because he saved the Wembley card. So fair play to Turkey for that. Sorry, Liam. Yeah, carry on. Wayne Herman in the house. Team Usyk. Hope you're well, Wayne.
Look, it's one thing stepping in on 8 days' notice against Josh Kelly, who is still unproven, who we still don't know where the journey's going. It's a whole other thing doing it against Sergei Bohachuk like he's doing here. This is another level. We're talking about, if we're being honest about Josh Kelly, European level at best at this current time. And we're talking about one of the elite fighters that's had all but one of his opponents, even in his defeat against Ortiz last time out, on the canvas at least once in a fight. Bohachuk is a very, very special fighter. He got on the wrong end of an interesting decision against Virgil Ortiz Jr. I mean, to lose that fight.
It was close.
It was a close fight, but that 116, 111 scorecard, even with 2 knockdowns, that's, leaves a bit of a sour taste. He's probably going to be pissed off that Madrimov has pulled out. We know he called for the Madrimov fight, so he's probably pissed off about that. He's still not going to be happy about the scorecards from the Ortiz Jr. fight. And he could take all of that frustration out on Ish Davis. And
I wouldn't want to be opposite Bohachuk on Saturday.
And whilst Ish wins just for getting in the ring on Saturday night, and Eddie's already said in Monaco last week, he will get a good opportunity on a domestic card in the middle part of 2025, which is fantastic. He could walk into a storm on Saturday night, and unfortunately, it could be over very quickly for him. If he can't get to grips with Bohachuk and can't deal with that power, and if he starts as slow as he did against Josh Kelly, it won't be tap, tap, tap punches coming back at him. It will be concussive hard punches that will more than likely put him on the canvas. So all credit to Ish Davis. The second time in 3 months, he's answered the Turkey back call on, a week's notice. But this is a massive step up and would probably be up there with what Bruno Sosa.
It might trump Bruno Soares over Mongear, but look,
like we're talking about that level.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Then, LOL about Josh Kelly. Sometimes he's had a strange career. He most definitely has. But look, he's on his own path. Finson's boxing in the house. Yeah, we're doing very well, my friend. Thank you very much for locking in tonight. Appreciate that. Lucas says difference this time. This is a fair point by Luca, as always. Ish has been in camp this time, and he's fighting at his natural weight at 154, isn't he, against Bohachuk? Whereas, obviously Kelly's probably a natural 154 himself, it has to be said, but that was at 160, wasn't it, at Wembley?
He was in training camp because he was meant to fight on the.
I was meant to fight in October, wasn't? But he wasn't. Yeah. He probably wasn't deep in camp. Is I guess.
No, he wasn't anywhere near as deep in camp. But as he said at the start of fight week, I'm delighted. I don't have to weight cut. I'm already sitting at around 160. This is saving me the rest of my weight cut. So I agree with Luca's point, but by his own admission, he was about a month into a training camp last time out when he got the call for Josh Kelly. Admittedly, for a lower level opponent, but still in a training camp, just probably hadn't started a weight cutting process like he has done this time around.
Yeah.
But I'm glad this has stayed on the card, because if we lost Boachuk full stop from the card, and then obviously we've lost McGrail, well, McGrail's still on the card, but we lost McGrail-McCann, this card all of a sudden becomes a bit of a tough slog trying to find what's good to get through to the main event. So one thing you can give Turkey credit for is he doesn't often pull fights from cards, even when stuff happens at the end.
He just finds a replacement. That's it.
Fights happening, so credit to it, because you know, if this was on just a standard Matchroom or Queensbury card, I do wonder if we would see these fights getting replaced, if that makes sense, if they would just get pushed back to a further date.
Not the final hour. If Ish does a Brandon Adams and finishes Boachuk's only other loss other than Ortiz, I believe, which was a knockout, it would be absolutely insane. Keep an eye out for the watch along for that.
Is Dennis McClenbuterol not on it anymore then? If they're not sussed that, no?
No, we'll get to that fight in a minute, Jay. We've got a bit to say on that. Finson says Davis is losing this one. Boachuk too much for him yet. This ain't its level yet. But Madrimov, no way. Was no way. Yeah, look, we definitely know that. But Boachuk, and even if Boachuk lost to Madrimov, he'd have knocked 7 bells of shit out of him for 12 rounds. So no way would Madrimov have made the Ortiz fight in February. I completely agree with that. Right, next up then, obviously we'll cover McGrail and Reese Edwards, which has been announced today, but we'll cover McCann in that as well. Let's go Moses Atalma against Dempsey McKean, which is, I actually think it's a decent fight for Moses, to be fair. McKean's only lost last time to Filip Hrgović, a final round stoppage. Moses, I think last time I thought Marius Wack, didn't he? Which, you know, let's be honest, it was what it was. Wack was about 5 stone overweight. Look, I actually think it's a decent step. If he goes out and does a better job on Dempsey McKean than Filip Hrgović did at 19 years old, it's like, you know, that just shows the kind of talent that we're looking at here with Moses Atalma. But I think it's going to go later rounds. You know, I actually think I'd be surprised if Moses takes him out. To be honest, I think McKean's quite crafty. I don't think he'll come with too much ambition to actually win the fight, if I'm being honest. But yeah, that's just my take on it. I think it'll be all right, though. It'd be good to see Moses actually tested and taken to deeper waters.
I don't think he'll get tested. I think he'll smash him to pieces. 3 rounds.
I agree with Jay. And the reason I think that is.
Sorry, mate. You already beat Mike Tyson. Usyk will be next. Fair play, Tom. I do like it, mate. I do like it.
We haven't.
The only man I've ever seen bigger troll than Jay's Fight Talk.
We haven't seen Dempsey McKean since that loss to Hrgović, which was August last year. So he's had 16 months out of the ring now, and he's going back in there against a young, fresh, hungry fighter. Now, from doing some research this week when I was doing my show, there's no signs that Dempsey was injured at all, that he's had any surgery, that he's had any reason to stay out of the ring for as long as he had. So that, for me, similar to Jay, is a question mark. He's now obviously, is it the money tempting him back more than the desire to want to get back into a fight? His record, yes, he was IBF number 2, but Hrgović was far and away the best heavyweight he'd ever fought. And we've seen what's happened to Hrgović since. So 16 months out of the ring, a Saudi payday comes up. Moses Atalma, I do reckon, will walk through Dempsey McKean. I'm not, whether he does it early, whether he does it late, I think it will be quite a dominant beatdown before a stoppage comes.
I think I'm off the mark here because Jams has said he thinks he blows him away in 6. Finson has said 2 rounds. Maybe I'm off the mark a little bit.
I think 3.
Mate, if he'd had, say, a couple of fights since the loss to Philip and he's sort of got himself back in the ring, I'd agree with what you're saying. But the fact we've not seen him and a Saudi payday has come along, it's just a bit too, it all looks like it's working perfectly. He's got WBO trinket and a WBA trinket on the line. We know why the WBA are getting involved. We know what they want to push, but we're not going to give that any airtime tonight. It's, Moses' 4th fight this year. It was, I said to Matt last night at the O2 in July, 7:30 at night, people were leaving the bars to come and watch the Moses Talma fight because that buzz is there already. And yes, everyone knew he was going to beat the pudding that was Marius Wack, that was in Five Guys 5 minutes before he walked to the ring. But how often do you get that buzz in boxing? You know you've got a good fighter when they'll come out of the bars. Yes,
Marius, he called you a pudding. We didn't.
Yeah.
He called you that, mate.
Nothing to do with me, Marius.
The buzz is there for Moses now. He's moving in the right direction. He's being moved along nicely. 2025, it looks like he'll move towards British honours, which we know the plan for the Fabio Wardley, Frank's hinted at being a European title. So those British and Commonwealth belts are going to become vacant. That's the sort of speed we want to move Moses at. It doesn't matter that he's only turning 20, I think, in February or March. The reality is, it doesn't matter. He can win a British and Commonwealth next year, and he positions himself nicely. Yeah.
It's good enough now. It's too late. The brakes are off. Let's go. Man.
It's another Queensbury masterstroke. Yeah,
it's another every time, and then within 12 months it'll be, I don't know, Joyce or Chisora or Dillian White, or I think that's where they're looking at, a name after a.
Well, speaking of Dillian White, Luke has made a good one as well. Adelaide for the British title makes sense as well. They're both Queensbury. Speaking of Dillian White. Mr. Sam Jones, on an interview that I watched earlier today with IFL, has said that Johnny Fisher wants the Dillian White fight. So Thomas Carter, who fought on the White undercard, I think he's managed or represented by. He's represented by White. So he wants Fisher, but Fisher wants Dillian White. But I didn't hear Fisher calling for Dillian White before Sunday. I don't know if anyone else did, but I most certainly didn't. So they know White's shot to bits and they want his scalp.
That's a name. That's to get an ex-world champion on the record. I mean, he's as much of White was never a world.
Did you just call him a world?
Ex-world champion.
He was an interim, wasn't he? Was he not interim?
For about half an hour.
But for God's sake, if they're, Babic is technically an ex-world title challenger. So that, they're going to rack up as many crap names as they can on it, but it makes sense marketing wise. Johnny Fisher against Dillian White at the O2 Arena great fight in the summer of 2025 is a great fight. Moses against Adelaide will get smoked inside 2 or 3 rounds. If they make that fight, that will remind me of when Daniel Dubois fought Nathan Gorman back in 2019. Both were unbeaten at the time, both Frank prospects, but Dubois done him within 5 rounds, didn't he? I'd get a similar vibe if Moses and Adelaide fought next year.
Take the E off the end. It's Adelaide.
Johnny beats Dillian, judging off Sunday, took 7 rounds to batter an African in a polo shirt. Lucas says 60-year-old African in a polo shirt, so to say. Right, Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen next heavyweight. This is a step up from Alan Babic, we've been told. Probably is, in fairness. Look, for me, probably
he's taking it serious this time.
Oh no, he's back. He's dedicated. Yeah, look,
White Rhino 68.0. That's what this is.
He's dieting this time. He's jogging this time. He's got kids this time. And blah, 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 blah. Same shit, different day. He'll use his head to block punches. He'll take as many as he can until the referee stops it or he falls over. Same old fucking Dave Allen. He's a lazy get. He is such a waste of talent, that kid, because he has all the attributes to be really good. He's just a lazy get.
Yeah, look, when he had the what's it called, the Lenroy Thomas fight on the Brook,
oh God, not that
Spence undercard. That was for a Commonwealth title. That was meant to be him getting himself going as a heavyweight. He blew his opportunity that night. Okay, in the rematch, he got that horrible cut, so they got the technical draw, and then Joe Joyce beat Lenroy Thomas when he was promoted by David Haye, didn't he? And that sort of was the end of that. But since then, he had the opportunity against David Price. Okay, look, Pricey done what he done. He done a good big man beats an average little man, and he done that job very well. He had the Fraser Clark fight where he had a perforated eardrum, but he was looking for a way out anyway after those low blows with the. I fell off the Dave Allen train probably after the Price fight. He went over against Tony Yoka on 12 days' notice, got stopped for the first time in his career, somehow was allowed to fight 3 weeks later. That's when he beat Nick Webb, wasn't it? Which was supposed to relaunch his career again. It's really difficult. You want to like Dave Allen, but this is round 987 of his career. And look, I'd almost have more respect for Dave if he said, it's Saudi Arabia money. Of course I'm going to take this opportunity because that's why
he's staying out behind closed doors. Most definitely.
Course, man, but
as soon as that phone rang, you know exactly what he was thinking. But he's not. I'd have more respect for him coming out and saying it to the camera than trying to kill us.
I'll use Sam's line. It's rinse and repeat every time he does an interview in the lead up to a fight. Look,
that's what Finn's son said here about. He spoke to Darren Barker and said he doesn't know what he's got left till he does the ring walk.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You don't want to be hearing that off someone.
Imagine that.
Fucking pull him out of it then. If that's the
is Jamie Moore still training him? Is he still with Jamie Moore?
He's with Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis for this one. Darren Barker trained him before. Do you remember?
Barker had him for the prize fight. Darren Barker said after that, I can never be a coach again.
Yeah, it's with Moore and Travis.
He was part of Team Fury for a long time, and he's got all the attributes. He's a lot bigger than you think. I think he's about 6'4". He's a
he is a bit of a.
He's got really fast hands. He's really tough. He can take a really good shot.
His chin. He's got an incredible chin.
He's just really uncommitted. He's just lazy. But he admits that himself. He likes sitting in house, eating crisps and chocolate, and watching Homes Under the Hammer. Great. So get out of the sport then and do something different because he's taking opportunities away from other people as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry, mate. I would have rather have seen other people get the call for this opportunity to fight Johnny Fisher than Dave Allen.
Me too.
Is it a step up from Alan Babbage? Look at it this way: Fisher's two fights this year haven't gone beyond the first round, so the bar isn't that high. If Dave Allen makes out the first round, then you can technically call it a step up. But there's not much to go off this year. He blitzed through some.
Is he going to learn much from beating Dave Allen? Dave Allen,
absolutely not. He's not.
Depends what Dave Allen does to him.
And I'm not saying I don't box. You know what I mean? He punched my head in. I'm just giving my opinion as somebody that's watched boxing for a long time. He's just lazy. And for me, I'm going to sound really awful now, but it's like disrespecting the sport for me, giving him massive paydays. He hasn't done anything to earn this fight. He's barely fought over the past few years, and if he's
had 2 4-rounders, has he not this year?
2 4-rounders this year, yeah.
And he's admitting openly that he doesn't know what he's got left. Well, that for me tells us everything we need to know about his mindset. He's not arsed. He's going out there to get a massive paycheck and then, take his kids to Disneyland for Christmas or whatever he's going to do, which is awesome to see. That's what they fight for. But for me, there's other fights I'd rather have seen than throwing a load of money at Dave Allen because, Johnny Fisher's not going to learn much incoming Dave Allen first round knockout or some shit like that. But, that would be because Johnny Fisher has a lapse in concentration. If Johnny Fisher turns up at the weekend, he'll beat the shit out of Dave Allen because Dave Allen's just too, he's just not, he just can't be bothered, can he? He'll just be a punch bag for as long as he can stand up.
If Dave Allen comes out and shows a bit of dog and a bit of want to be there and asks a few questions of Johnny Fisher, then we might learn something. It's just you're not even going
how many rounds he can last, isn't it? Really, Liam? Just calling a spade a spade.
Look, this fight should have been in the copper box.
Yeah, exactly.
He's had 2 4-rounders, one in April, one in August this year. So
definitely. Yeah, for me, I agree with Finn's sons and what you guys have said as well. He shouldn't have the opportunity, but hey ho, it's there, it's happening. Right then, Peter McGrail and Reese Edwards are fighting. Obviously, the pick of the undercard fights initially outside of Madrimov Boachuk was Dennis McCann and Peter McGrail, wasn't it? Now, let's just address the first elephant in the room with McCann and McGrail because, obviously, we're just in the wake of what's happened with Conor Benn now being cleared to box and all this. But, for me, there's 2 different ways on how the situations have been handled for sure, because as soon as the adverse finding was discovered in Dennis McCann, Turkey and Frank Warren and everyone had put out a statement, he's off the card.
Can I just interject? Can we all stop with the fucking rebranding, adverse finding? He has failed a drug test.
I know, but that's the wording that they all love to use.
That's the politically correct terminology.
Have they said what it was for yet?
From the promoters. Not yet, no. But an adverse
it's been very quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've said the same today for the footballer Mudryk. An adverse finding. Ultimately, he's failed the dope test.
He's popped, has he?
Mudryk. Yeah, he's popped. Mudryk. Oh, yeah. Mudrick
came out this morning. Yeah,
B sample.
Didn't even see it. Oh, but that's what they're going to. They're clearly doing a B sample now with McCann. Absolutely doing a B sample.
Have we ever seen a B sample come back and say anything different?
No,
very rare.
No. Look, but it's first of all, Liam, it's just a shame, isn't it? Like, it was such a great fight.
Oh, mate, I'm gutted. I saw Dennis McCann's last performance against Beluta at the O2 on the Joyce Chisora card, and that was one of the most impressive performances I've seen from a boxer live, if that makes sense. I really enjoyed watching Dennis McCann that night. Obviously, that he posted a photo, didn't he, in the afternoon, which is still on his Instagram, but is now cropped, where you can see the cosmetic needles on the table, and he passed that down as different things.
And now
have a listen, man. They're all Dr. Uz.
It's it's a massive shame. Dennis McCann, regardless of what the situation is here, has now thrown away a huge chance to move in his career. He was in a much better position career-wise than Conor Benn when he fell. British, Commonwealth, European title, well ranked with governing bodies. But on the flip side, Peter McGrail still has a fight. He has a fight against a fighter that's in his weight class still and was fighting Leon Woodstock on the 11th of January. So there's, it's a different situation to Ish Davis stepping in with Josh Kelly. Look, Peter McGrail should have too much for Reece Edwards. That's the reality. But at least it's a good competitive fight as opposed to a pudding being brought in just so McGrail has a fight. Eddie Hearn said it himself. Look, this isn't just a knockover. We are bringing in a fighter that actually we were looking at as an opponent anyway if we could have made the Dennis McCann.
Boxer versus Matchroom, isn't it, as well? You've got that narrative kind of
thing. Then Shalom's found himself a way out to Saudi for this fight.
Yeah, Shalom's got first-class airfare on the way.
The problem for Dennis McCann now, I think, he's blacklisted himself. Turkey
won't deal with him now. No chance.
I've got a funny feeling. I know I said McClenbuterol and I'm just being flippant and I'm taking the piss. I think we're gonna eventually find it's EPO, something like EPO for me. I think he was worried about cardio. We've seen him fade in fights, haven't we? And
the first Belusa fight,
1,000,000 miles an hour.
Well, like we haven't. It's just been all hush hush, hasn't it? Like there hasn't really been any addressing of it.
He's not said a word. I don't believe he's not said a word.
Mate, I'll be really honest. I want to know what's going on, but I don't care this week. Let's just enjoy this fight. It's Peter McGrail fight week now. He has a fight. He has an opponent it needs addressing, but we can deal with that after this fight week. It'll be very typical if McCann puts something out just before McGrail ring walks on Saturday night.
I agree with you, Liam. As much as bad as it sounds, no one really cares because Fury and Usyk's on. But essentially, we lost Madrimov off the Boachuk fight, so this amplifies losing McCann-McGrail because they were the two best fights on the undercard. I'm just going to go through a few comments, guys, because they're racking up. Finson's boxing says he thinks McGrail would have beaten McCann anyway. It's definitely a fair shout. Dan Evans in the house. How are the three amigos doing? Very well, my friend. Thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you're well. As always, Dan. And Dan's also gone on to say he's got Usyk in a late stoppage in the fight. Wayne Herman not holding back the words as always. Big up Wayne. Cheat is the word, he says. Lucas says he needs to take more of whatever is Mudrik's taking because he's shite. Oh, I love it, Luca. Both Mudrik and Dennis failed urine samples, Jam said. Nice one, Jams. I don't know if that might be related. What did Mudrik pop for? Do we know?
Nothing. Similar
to a tainted supplement, they reckon, at the minute. But they've not actually
similar to what they said with McCann. They've not said a lot, have they? It's just he's failed the test, and that's all.
McGrail, what about boxing McCann? He said movements, but McGrail is difficult. I think Dennis would have struggled with the fight. It would have been interesting, definitely. McCann was so much better in the Beluta ring. That's after the first draw. So was he already using? Of course, Jams, no accusations, but it is a thought. It's the same thing with Ben, isn't it? We couldn't knock the skin off a rice pudding, it felt like, and then he started flatlining people.
Did we not see? I don't know what they were for. I'm pretty sure McCann posted an Instagram picture before with.
I said that earlier, mate. It was
on the side.
It was the afternoon of the Beluta rematch. So he posted his last photo saying refueled after the weigh-in, and you can see it there. If you go on his Instagram now, that same photo's there, but it's a little bit more zoomed in, so you can't see what's on the table. I thought the post would be gone. The first thing I done when the test pops is went back to find that photo. It's still there, just more zoomed in, so you can't see what's on the table.
You know what? I know we're trying to get past it, but I'll just have one more thing on it. For me, the silence speaks volumes. I thought they would have at least done a team statement and said, look, we vehemently deny any of these allegations. We're going to fight this to the nth degree. We're not cheats. It's a mistake or whatever. But to say nothing at all.
The silence is deafening, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? And you know, I know people are putting 2 and 2 together and coming out with Dr. Uz, but that guy's been involved in a few. You know, he's been around a few. I'm not saying he's responsible, even though I have said he is responsible. But, you know, there's no definitive proof. But, it doesn't look very good, does it?
So, McCann posted a photo with him before the second Baluta fight. He's now hopped.
Yeah.
Ben done it in and around the Eisode rematch and then him going on that run of stoppages. Again, I'm the same as Jams, the same as you. I'm not making any accusations, but the signs all lead towards one common denominator in this situation.
Yeah,
it doesn't look good at all. And yes, Jams, definitely money talks, doesn't it? There's a difference in commercial value between Dennis McCann and Tyson Fury, with the greatest of respect to Dennis McCann. So yeah, look, we'll see how it unfolds. I don't want to spend the show talking about people and potential.
McGrail stops Reece Edwards. Let's get it back on track. We'll get a stoppage.
But what I will say is Fury fronted up to it. Fury didn't hide from any of it. He fronted up to it. He explained what had happened. It's a different scenario. It's not the same, and we can't take it as the same. I'm not justifying it. I'm not sticking up for him, but I'm just.
I know what you're saying, mate. Yeah.
You know, it was a different situation. But yeah, I believe that McGrail stops him. I think he stops him 6 to 8 rounds.
Yeah.
Even though we're not predicting, but
it's a 10-rounder, so it's not going to be sanctioned for the British or Commonwealth, unfortunately, but it is being sanctioned for McGrail's WBA trinket still. So at least it hasn't gone down to being an 8-rounder or something like that. At least we still have a 10-rounder.
Yeah. Decent fight.
For what it's worth. For what WBA international trinket's worth.
It's Reese's.
The only other fight on the
Reece Edwards is big shock.
Oh, it is. Yeah, fair play to him.
Surprised if there's a shock. We're going to get a shock outside of the main event, aren't we? At some stage, you know, can it be Davis? Yeah, you know. So this might be it. This might be the the shock of the weekend.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be one, Jay. I completely agree with that. Ron Poe, thanks very much for joining us. Boxing's always been full of PED cheats. He says there has been a lot over the years. Dillian's been forthcoming in the past, Jam says as well. Boys, last fight to talk about, I guess, really on the card is Isaac Lowe and Lee McGregor. If you've any interest in that one at all, obviously Isaac Lowe gets these opportunities through being Tyson Fury's cousin. Let's just say,
what is Isaac Lowe got on Tyson Fury? What has Isaac Lowe got on Tyson Fury? Because he got on Wilder 1-3. He's got on
Nick Paul at Wembley on the white.
He got on the Spurs cards, and now he's got on the Saudi one in May, and now this. And let's be really honest, it's the biggest mismatch on the cards.
Lee McGregor should McGregor in fight. McGregor should deal with him, shouldn't he? Really.
He will beat the brakes off of him, and Isaac Lowe will again go back to, fighting 6-8 rounders and looking good, and then he'll get another step up and probably another Tyson on the card, and he'll short again.
Or go to be a fucking code breaker, because you have to be one to be able to read any of his social media. That guy needs to learn how to read.
Yeah, I know that's.
Or stop blocking punches with his face. Either or.
Yeah, this fine's the best. Isaac Lowe, ... My God, yeah, that's about right. McGregor in 2 or 3. I think it'll be an
easy night's work for McGregor.
It's a mismatch. It is, unfortunately. I know we can talk. Fisher Allen is potentially a mismatch where they're at, but one that's certified to be a mismatch is this fight.
I think Allen will give Fisher a couple of few rounds. But
do you know what there's potential for? Do you know what there's potential for? Every single fight on that undercard has potential to be a rematch of the ones we just spoke about. Boachuk Davis, Talmud McKean, Fisher Allen, and McGregor Lowe. They all have potentials to be, and McGrail Edwards as well. They all have potential to be over quick for the A side, and not through anyone's fault. It's meant to be Madrimov, it's meant to be McCann McGrail, but that's just kind of how it could be. Very one-sided fights up until the main event on Saturday. But look. It's still a deep enough undercard that we'll watch and we're interested in seeing. Lots more to come on fight week and that kind of thing. I'm going to move into the Finson's talking about Isaac Lowe's IQ. I'm going to move into a couple of the other
digits.
Talking points of this week. There are a few of them. I want to start with some of the announcements that have been made for early on next year. The pick of them for me has to be Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan. We've been talking about that fight for so long now. March the 1st at the SSE in Belfast, that's going to be on. What a fight that's going to be. I'll get both of your thoughts on that one. Pat Brown is going to headline in March as well. Dalton Smith's back in Nottingham in January. There's Pacheco fights, there's Berlanga fights stateside. Jonas and Price has been announced, obviously, on the back end of last weekend for the Royal Albert Hall, bizarrely. We're going to probably get Jack Catterall and Barboza, aren't we, on the week after Chisora versus Wallen in the same venue. So yeah, just get both of your thoughts on what's been announced so far, really, and I guess what your pick of the fights are on the schedule.
Lewis Crocker, Paddy Donovan is fantastic. It whets the juices, it whets the appetite. It's an IBF eliminator as well. Look, if Boots keeps far-arsing around, one of them could be, upgraded to a full world champion off the back of that fight. Mm-hmm. We just don't know what Boots is doing. That's a great fight. Pat Brown is getting the Anthony Joshua treatment from Matchroom. By that I mean Anthony Joshua. Last time I can remember a professional debut being a main event for a British fighter. I can't remember the last time a British, since AJ back in 2013. So interesting there. I mean, Anthony Joshua was a gold medalist. Pat Brown got knocked out in the first round. So it's interesting how high Matchroom seems to be on him. The interesting thing about the 25th of January with Dalton Smith and the Pacheco fight is Matchroom has said they're going to do one broadcast from Nottingham all the way through to America, and they're going to do that as one broadcast. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. That might not be as late at night as American fights. That came out yesterday. Jonas and Price, I really want to be excited about. I could potentially go. It's in London at the Royal Albert Hall, but why is it in London? You're taking a Scouser and a Welsh girl and taking them to London. Tasha would do good numbers in Liverpool. Lauren, it would have to be in Liverpool. I don't think Lauren on her own would do the numbers in Cardiff. So so Cardiff out of the question. But yeah, London seems a strange place. And unless they put Caroline Dubois on that card, because they want to do an all-female card, I can't think of another London-based female fighter that could land on that card. Caroline Dubois is fighting on the 11th of January. If she gets cut in that fight, no way she's going to make it out again by the 7th of March. Catterall Barboza. I mean, Barboza hasn't signed a contract, has he? Jack signed his.
He's lost his pen, apparently. Barboza. Apparently, he wants to walk second. And that's
in a final eliminator.
Catterall wants to walk second as well. He's saying that he's undefeated and Catterall's got a defeat, so he should be walking second.
Yeah, so whether we see that or not, I don't know.
They're petty, these boxers, aren't they? They're really petty.
Yeah.
Look, we've had some good fights announced, but a lot of them now we need to see what the cards are going to be like around them. So there's some good names in some of it. So I think the fullest card we got so far is...
There's always. I only put that up because I knew Jay would enjoy it.
Fucking hell! Don't start.
We got Hawkan making his Belfast debut, or maybe there myself that night. Hawkan, that one might get me out of retirement. Crocker and Donovan.
Both wanted neutral. Okay, if they both wanted neutral ground, that's fair enough. Then Jams, that makes a bit more sense.
Okay, right,
that's fair enough.
This is a good one from Rambler.
You could have just asked me. I get pillar talk, don't I? So.
Jay's affection. Right. Feel like Crocker might be the next Lewis Ritson flat track bullet. It is an interesting point.
Compare those two.
It is an interesting point though, because you know when he was fighting Conor Walker and his shots weren't having an impact and stuff like that, I was thinking, because Lewis Crocker does boil down to make 147 is a big lump for a 147. Hope you're not watching, Billy, by the way. Love you, mate, if you are. No, Billy will be on a flight to Saudi. Luke Bibby's headlining the midweek show, isn't he, tomorrow? I think it is interesting. I'm not saying I think it, but it's a valid point.
I don't think he'll have a drop off like Lewis Ritson. Lewis Ritson was a bit more And I do feel Crocker's got a little bit more than Louis Fritzen. I didn't really see what everybody was telling us about Louis Fritzen. Yeah, he has power and yeah, he had some good wins, but they weren't anything special. And anytime he's gone above a certain level, he's got beat.
Anytime he's gone above British level in his natural weight class, as soon as he jumps above British level, we lost at European level.
Yeah, this
then
is
he's moved up.
Fight. I actually think Donovan will win that fight anyway. I have done from before it was made. I think Donovan's just slightly better and maybe not as hard a puncher, but I think he's definitely got better skill set for me. I think he's more polished, and I think he'll be able to navigate himself through that fight. I think it'll be close, but I think Donovan takes that fight for me.
Yeah, I favour Paddy as well. Yeah, I think a lot depends. The most fullest card we got at the moment, other than the Boxer one for the 11th of January, is the Matchroom card with Pacheco in Vegas on the 25th. That's pretty much a full card we got there now. So that looks like a decent card. Look, we've had a year this year where we've got, other than from Queensbury, cards have been good main events with not a lot going on underneath. So that's a great fight if they make that.
They said about Beatrice Ferreira for Terry Harper Jam in the ring in Monaco on Saturday, and they're both with Matchroom. So I don't know how that's a unification as well. So I don't know how they'll play it.
Who knows what they're going to do? If they can make some good undercards as well, then these events become better. But we can't have another year of 70% of British shows being based off of main events. We need some solid undercards. That's the thing. This year is the main event heavy with not a lot of good undercards, bar Queensbury. We need some better cards this year because, you know, there's a couple of fights in London that have been announced already that I've got my eye on, but I want to see an undercard first because there's a difference between spending money just for a main event but actually wanting to go for a card. So let's see what else gets announced.
Definitely. We're going to cover a lot of that on next week's award show as well, where we'll be talking about best card of the year, best show of the year, etc., etc. Yeah, we did watch that one, Finson's Boxing. We did a watch along for the main event, didn't we, George? That was actually not a bad card on the zone. You're absolutely right there. Boxer wants to have a huge show at an iconic venue like the Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, fair enough, Hawkan. Yes,
I love it. Yeah, Matt Queensbury done it with two Dubois fights earlier in his career. One of them was against Tete.
Yeah,
so it's been, you know, and I know it was used back in the 90s as well for boxing fights. It makes sense, and obviously now Jams has said they both wanted neutral ground. Although I should have just asked Jay, you could have told me that. But it makes sense that they're doing it. You know, Royal Albert Hall, historic International Women's Day, but it could potentially be a tough sell of a card getting the Scousers down to London and Lauren Price's fan base across the bridge. It could.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it sells as well.
On a Friday night as well. I know they want to do it on International Women's Day, but on a Friday night, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was Jam. He was a weight bully at 135, and then unfortunately he got found out at 140 and now 147. Didn't he, Ritson? But great fighter, to be fair to him. Really tough man. Crocker's a better operator than Ritson. Finson says, yeah, I agree with that. Wanted to be a mega show for International Women's Day, absolutely. Harper versus Ferrer next on the match. Yeah, I think that's what I heard in the ring that Eddie Hearn said, Pat, on Saturday, definitely. Good point, actually, Finson. Did you boys see Benavidez and Morel having a little shove up earlier?
Yeah, they done a workout, didn't they?
Yeah, they're doing a face-off in the ring, and Benavidez pushed him, and Morel threw his WBA regular light heavyweight championship at him, and they had a nice little...
but they did that. They'd already started with that, didn't they?
They don't like each other, man.
They did the green screen the other week, didn't they? And Morel was cussing him out in Spanish, and they got fairly close to each other. Then there was no pushing and pulling, but you could see that there's a bit of spite and a bit of venom there.
That's it. Yeah, he wouldn't shake his hand, Dave. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. I'm really looking forward to it. That's the week after Pacheco, February the 1st, I think, is the date for Benavidez.
Ticket sales going that badly and pay-per-views already.
If you're fighting, I'm like that. I'm not shaking it. You'll see when I'm on Misfits.
Yeah, no. I'm not talking about the handshaking, you know.
I'm not shaking Prince Patel.
Yeah, they're beefing anyway, you know, they're having a go anyway. So that's why Benavidez has tried to shake his hand, you know.
It makes no sense to me. You can't beef and then, all right, mate, you do that after. If you've got that energy, I'm only joking. You know, I'm all about respect. But if you've got that energy, I'm not all about respect. But if you've got that energy, then keep that energy and shake hands after you've fought. Take that in with you. You can't go from one extreme to another. You know, for me, it just don't work. Just stick with it, and then afterwards you can shake hands or not.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm buzzing for that. We'll fight, definitely. It's a 5K capacity. Yeah, they probably will sell it out, I'd say. They'll do all right. And like Hawkan said, actually, good point. They'll do what they did with Shields and Marshall. Because they had Baumgardner against Michaela Meyer on that one, didn't they? So they worked with Top Rank and whoever else it was. So, yeah, no doubt they'll
Ben's in a
do
better position with other promoters now than he was back in 2022 as well, isn't he? So you'd imagine that would be easier to do for him. But, I mean, people still think he's a bit of a sausage, but at least he's shown willingness to work with others this year.
Do you think they've made him fly economy to Saudi?
Oh, no. Shalom it'll be at least premium business. Economy. Maybe not business, but it'll at least have free drinks.
He might not get Wi-Fi on the plane like Eddie was earlier, but I'm sure he'll still get something.
He'll have at least 2 meals. He might not get 3, but he'll get at least 2 meals. Yeah. He'll get free water, I reckon.
That's hot towel.
Real talk from Jam's Boxing Chat as always. Respect is earned, not given beforehand. David Rowe put out 5 guys after Taco Bell. Yeah, definitely. They'll be all over that, both of them. It's going to be a proper war, that one, Finsons, definitely. Problem is Matchroom fighters are locked into the zone and let them find Sky box office is doubtful. Yeah, I agree with that. The scrap off film and the fight poster. I had the video.
There you go.
Fair blocked. Okay, fair enough. There's genuine bad blood there for sure. We'll move on from Benavidez Burrell.
I don't speak street, sorry.
Couple of announcements.
Brown or not, I don't speak street, unfortunately for me.
I wasn't even going there with that. I was just the way you came in with I don't speak street on me.
He's still living in the 80s. Nick Ball against TJ Dehenny was announced for Liverpool as well. Another one. I'm not that keen on the fight, to be honest with you.
We spoke about it.
It's being sold.
Mismatch for me.
Yeah, it's been sold off the back of a tweet that Nick Ball put out after the New Age Dehenny. That's what that press was.
He went 7 rounds with a New Age.
Yeah, but it's been sold off of the tweet that came out from Nick Ball, and Nick Ball was just being Nick Ball, wasn't he? He was saying exactly what other people were thinking.
He doesn't want to engage in any shit talk. It's not his style, man. He just wants to get in there.
That's right.
He'll beat the shit out of him. I think he'll target his back, his kidney area and stuff. I think he's going to make a real statement in this fight. Because I think you could see at times in that he were pissed that Dehenny was being so dismissive of him. Backing his own power. I get he's got power, but you're going up a weight division, pal. Nick Ball's a monster. As small as he is a monster.
Absolutely.
I don't think that fight's going to be... I don't think it'll last as long as the Inoue fight did for me. What was that, 7?
7, yeah. He gave up. He got
I agree, James.
Mate, within it's not a good fight at all, though. It's from what was being rumoured for Nick Ball for us to end up with this
talking about. Yeah.
But look,
should be why is he not unifying?
I don't know, man. Because I don't believe...
Surely Riyadh season can get him a unification.
Yeah, well, I don't believe Nick Ball is hard to... I don't believe he would be hard to negotiate with. The kid just wants to fight. Make him an offer, and I think he'll fight.
He did 2 Riyadh cards. He done Vargas, and he done the 5v5 to beat Ray Ford.
That's it.
And then he's fought Ronnie Rios, and now... Dehenny. So it seems weird that he's been pulled away from this Riyadh season.
This must be a voluntary, yeah?
This is voluntary. Ronnie Rios was his mandatory somehow.
Weight below, wasn't he? Dehenny. He's fighting at Super Bantam.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not a fight anyone. If you could have picked 10 fights for Ball, he wouldn't have. Finson, don't dismiss it till you've had it, mate. Because my back goes, and please believe me, I have to get my missus to pull my trousers up sometimes, and I can't get out of bed, and don't knock it till you've had it. Goes, you'll fucking soon change.
Anyway, moving on swiftly.
I'm not lowering my tone to your gutter standards.
To be fair, it's normally me that drops myself in it, so it's nice to see it was you for a change. Anyway, Nick Ball and Dehenny's happening. A few other rumours. Keyshawn Davis against Dennis Brinchick. It's not official, I don't think, but I think it is actually. I think it is official. So that'll be a good one. Yeah, I think.
What about? I saw another one today. Who was Lomachenko? They're on about Lomachenko. He don't want
Misfits. Mams Come on.
He's scared.
Lomachenko's retiring, mate. He ain't coming back.
Well, they're on about him fighting Shakur.
I'd love to see Loma again, but I'm starting to have my doubts now.
I don't think he wants to fight anymore, and credit to him, man. He's done about 500 amateur fights. You know, I just think he's done. But Keyshawn against Brenchik would be a good fight, man. I'm interested.
Yeah, great fight.
Keyshawn looked great last time out, so hopefully that'll happen.
I'm all in on Keyshawn, and it just makes him against Lopez more attractive, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Keyshawn comes through that, then Lopez might actually get in the boxing ring instead of talking smack through his dad on social media for a change, and announcing we're negotiating fights, and then 3 days later, oh no, we stopped that now. It's flipping tiresome, and we need, Teofimo is another fighter who's potentially wasting the best years of his career by being a dick outside of the ring instead of getting in there and fighting.
Yeah. I like that, Luca. I'm exactly where you're at with Loma. The biggest, but we've had some bad news this week. McCann falling off. Opetaya, his fight was, obviously he's got a new opponent and stuff like that. But the biggest gutter this week was losing Inoue on Christmas Eve. I was absolutely buzzing to watch Inoue around about midday on Christmas Eve, just to start the Christmas celebrations early. And then Sam Goodman goes and gets himself cut in his last sparring session. So cheers, Sam Goodman. I know you're fighting on January the 24th now in the rescheduled one, but who wants to watch it on January the 24th, man? Be at work at that point in the day or something, whereas Christmas Eve was nice and clear. Everything was there and it was good. But yeah, I'm gutted about that. I don't know if you boys are you gutted about it too, or is it just me that's...
No, mate, I am absolutely gutted. But more because it's the first time Inoue hasn't fought 3 times in a year since 2017 or something stupid like that, if that makes sense. Look, we get the fight again in a month and we get that whole card again in a month. So let's take, it's a shit situation, but exactly 31 days later, we're getting that entire card again. So take the positive out of it. But look, Sam Goodman is another marking time fight for Inoue. It's not the fight we want to see him in with.
No. NJ, please. That's Shakan Pitters, isn't it? I think that one on February the 7th for European title fight. I think it is. I think I saw that. That is a decent card, actually. It will have to do, Jams, absolutely. And he was excited for Christmas Eve too. The robbery against Devin, I think, is what put the nail in the coffin. Yeah, I thought he won that fight against Haney as well. Lomachenko, definitely. Boys, just a couple more to go over before we leave it there. I'm going to save the best till last, though, obviously. I heard that, sorry, this isn't the last one. The next one's the best one. You'll enjoy this. Yard Arthur 3 was being talked about, was it? I've heard this week.
Jay, give us the news, mate. You're involved.
No, please don't, Jay.
I'm not. I don't want to see that fight. I like Lyndon. I talked to him. I sort of know him through a third party. I don't want to see that fight. No one wants to see that fight.
Lyndon said he was retired, jokingly, like that video he put out, and he's like, I'm retired, but I'll get out of retirement to fight Yard for a third time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll watch it, and it'll probably be a decent fight, but it does nothing for either of them. It does absolutely nothing for either of them.
Yard's career is in turmoil, man.
He's just flattering to deceive.
He is in turmoil.
He's got his cheerleaders, his weird uncle screaming from the rafters about how good he is and liar.
He could be fighting on Saturday, Yard, if he didn't mess it up. He'd be fighting on Saturday.
Yeah, it could have been, but he's not.
Or February the 22nd against Boazzi, Boazzi on February the 22nd. He could have.
I think if Yard's not careful, he'll just get completely frozen out, and he just won't fight anyone.
He'll get Mungeared. If he's not careful, he'll get Mungeared. I bet you.
Is that a new saying now? We're going to start using
definitely that. Is. Or he'll get Bruno Cerise. Should I say that's a bit harsh on the Frenchman?
You get Cerise.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, if it happens, we'll watch it. But no one's clambering to see that fight. No one was clambering to see it the first time round, let alone the second and the third. Jeez, do me a favour.
Yeah, no, that fake Benson's putting stuff out. I saw that. Yeah,
I've had to block that. I've had to because it's catching me out. It's I've put something stupid out and say something on.
Benson's with the Ring magazine now. So yeah, it's not.
No, he's sitting there with his 20 mil that he got from Turkey. Absolutely.
Is that what he got?
No, there's all sorts of different rumors about what Benson's got paid.
Yo, Kirk, man, I copied shit.
To be fair though, to Benson, right? like he would have been getting paid a lot of money off Twitter because he had a lot of followers. So like he must have been paid a good bit to give up that account.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. He was 100%. He was, and it's just the fact he put that tweet out showing Tyson Fury finishing his training camp, and then 90 minutes later it's gone to Ring Magazine. It's like, just do you get what I mean? Like,
if that's true, that is absolutely insane.
Turkey man, slingers are born. Fucking hell.
That is absolutely insane. $10 million to have a Twitter account. I mean, to be fair, 300,000 followers. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I'm only 299,000 behind that. Throw me a bone, man.
No, Jay's Fight Talk. It's only going one way, mate. It's on the you should fight Hutchison. Yeah, you should. Hutchison's fighting Zach Parker, isn't he? On
but there's bigger and better fights that could have been made. There's bigger and better fights that could have been made within the light heavyweight division to go. You know, both of them could have had a decent fight. You know, Whitaker, Cameron. You know, there's people for Yard to fight other than revisiting Lyndon Arthur. But you know, let's see. I don't think Yard fights. I'm worried that he's going to waste the latter part of his career on shit, going on TalkSport and telling us how hard and difficult it's been for him.
Yeah. Did any of you see the Cobra interview, Ben?
Say again?
The Cobra interviewed Ben Whitaker.
I haven't seen it. I've seen.
Seemed in good spirits, actually. He's getting rinsed in the comments, Frotch, because everyone's like, "Oh, you let him off the hook. You didn't ask any pressing questions and all this. You meant to be the man who asks all the hard questions, and you let him off the hook."
Let's just go back on.
Yeah, look, there's Luca. Cobra bottled it.
Let's just go back on Yard quickly, talking about how he's going to say he's so hard done by. You're the idiot that when there was an opportunity to make a Joshua Buatsi fight in a stadium potentially there for this summer that we've just had, decided you were going to argue over not wanting to do the last fight on your contract with Frank Warren. So you've got no one to blame but yourself. Frank Warren has handed you 2 world title opportunities that you ultimately don't deserve off of your volume of work in your career. And now look where you are. You are completely frozen out. You went over to Boxer, but you had to pay Frank Warren to allow you to do that fight if the rumors are true. And you're nowhere near the Saudi picture. Yard absolutely, dropped the ball massively.
I did. That is true.
He's upset Frank as well, don't forget. He's upset Frank.
Oh, yeah, and that's the big thing.
He's upset the wrong people. So, the ball's not in your court, Anthony. You have to take what's given.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, Luca, that's right. He asked him what food he likes instead of asking him about the what happened in the Liam Cameron fight. Who sees the Cobra trucking Gareth? Yeah, he interviewed Gareth A. Davis, didn't he? Give him a load of abuse as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do like the Cobra's channel, but yeah, the Whitaker interview didn't match up to his.
I think what's happening with Carl is he's moving over from the ex-fighter that will talk shit about anyone to the content creator, and you can see that he's molding into this fucking it's changing, and it's not a good look.
Yeah, look, Carl knows that he's not going to be working for Sky, DAZN, or
he's in Saudi this week,
so he's trying to. Yeah,
he's on his own, though, isn't he? He goes by himself.
Yeah, he's doing it independently. Yeah, he's not working.
He's manoeuvring himself in a new direction, which, like Jay's just said, I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of if he's going to go about it the way.
Sponsored by Cobra Casino.
He spoke to Khan as well, Luca. Yeah, he did. They all hashed it out. Yeah. Look, last point of the night, then, boys. Before we leave it there, another great show. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Me too, Jams. Love the Cobra. But yeah,
he's a fan of mine, apparently.
He loves JFT. Biggest news of the week, though. Forget Usyk Fury 2. The heavyweight division is thriving. Rumors that heavyweight world champion Kubrat Pulev could be fighting Big Baby Jarrell Miller on a Riyadh season in 2025.
Drop the mic.
I'm talking about that. See you later, lads.
Drop the mic and walk away with the announcement of the century. Turkey.
Oh, it doesn't get any bigger and better than that. Pulev Miller. Let's do it.
So that means, mate, it's coming. That I can't even comprehend that fight. How the fuck off with it, please.
Yeah. That
nonsense fight.
Oh, Miller would annihilate him. Miller would do him in a few rounds.
He'd murder him. But then we've got Big Baby Miller as a world champion.
No, the WBA regular champion. Pulev versus Miller, 43 versus the Drugs, baby. Yes, Wayne, I saw it rumored earlier by a credible source.
Miller is number 2 with the WBA, isn't he? Because when they posted their ranking with Atalma at 5, they had...
Yeah. Always Team Usyk. Wayne, thanks, Mr. Neutral. Thanks for tuning in, my friend, as always.
As much as I just joked and walked out, the reality is we are going to see that fight. And look, if Miller beats Pulev, then I'd rather watch Miller against Atalma than Atalma against Pulev if you look at the route they're looking to go down with it. But Jesus Christ, it's horrendous, isn't it? Miller even being allowed to box is a grey area anyway that we're not going to get into.
For me, look, if Pulev's a world champion, let Martin Bakole, someone like that, fight him so that he gets the strap and then he can...
Me and Liam spoke about it. We were convinced that the Moses Atalma would get Pulev belt.
Be the youngest world champion.
Try and be, but like even they can't sell that though. Like you can't be claiming records like that for a WBA regular when he was sick and I'm not after it.
Moses won't claim it himself, but you can imagine the promo if they do make that fight. Look, it looks like that fight's going to be in February as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I've heard it's going to be on a Riyadh season card in March that's also going to feature Martin Bakole versus F8 Ajagba as well as others. There's also rumours that Crawford and Canelo is going to happen, but I don't really want to talk about it because I don't think it'll happen. Crawford hasn't fought since Madrimov, has he? So I think Crawford's got one more fight. He's nearly 40. And he's switched on. He ain't going to stick around for no one. He's Canelo or bust for me. I think Crawford won't fight again unless it's Canelo. Or I heard potentially that he's fighting Bakram Murtazaliev, the IBF champion, in a unification. I heard that was another potential for Terence Crawford on that March Riyadh season card that's been spoke about. So potentially Crawford Murtazaliev, F.A. Jagber against Bakole is going to happen in an IBF final eliminator. So Bakole won't fight for that jam because he's gone the IBF route. Him and Billy are determined to get that Dubois fight. They really fancy. Well, it could be Parker, couldn't it? But
could be Parker.
They really fancy that, and they really want to do the IBF route. So, that's the only chance it has. If it's not Cinco de Mayo this year, Pat, it's not happening. It has to be May this year. I think that'll do it for the Usyk Fury 2 pay-per-view plus the boxing waffle half-an-hour segment that we do at the end, which we all absolutely love. Thank you very much, Jams, for the kind words, mate. Really appreciate you stopping by. Really enjoyed the show earlier with you guys as well. Thank you, Pat, as always, my friend as well, for the kind words. Thanks, Jams, Pat, Luca, Wayne, Mr. Neutral, Finson's Boxing. Good list today. Hawkan. LOL was in the house. Dave at Rope-a-Dope. Great show tonight. Rambler. Thank you very much, everybody. Adolf Stalin was here. Ronga Pogue was here.
That done me as well, that one.
Dan Evans. Sometimes I get them wrong. Apologies. We had the Jake Paul lover in the house earlier as well. And Dave was in the house. Missed the 3 rounds to Usyk at the start. He was in the
no Pol Potts or Mao or Hitler or anybody else. We had Adolf Stalin. For fuck's sake.
Oh, dear.
I just muted my sound quickly, and the first thing I heard you say was Hitler. I don't know what I just missed.
Cheers, Wayne. See you, man.
Yes, cheers. Cheers, Wayne. Cheers, Luca. Thanks very much, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night for prediction shows for the main fights on the card. We'll probably do the main event, Boachuk, Fisher, and Atalma. I don't think... Well, maybe McGrail. Probably not Isaac Lowe and McGregor, to be honest with you. I don't know if that one's worth doing.
What's that be the upset? That's going to be
that'll be the one. Thursday night we'll be doing the weigh-in press conference reaction, maybe some final thoughts Friday. Definitely live watch along on Saturday night, and very early Sunday morning we've agreed to react first.
We have
to Usyk Fury for a very early Sunday morning show. So thank you very much to everybody who has tuned in. Usyk Fury 2 is only 4 days away. Now let's see how it goes, and we'll be back tomorrow night around about the same time. Thanks to Jay and Liam. Follow them at Liam_Tully9 at Jay's Fight Talk, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night.
Check out Liam's Fight Night picks if you haven't already as well, please, guys.
Check out Liam's Fight Night picks if you haven't already. Check out the prediction show on Boxing Media Hub as well. I had some fun filming that. But yeah, see you tomorrow, guys.
Bye-bye.